everyone, and welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. Or should I say Merry Christmas, everyone, because the Hallmark countdown to Christmas has begun. So we are so excited to talk about that today. I'm Kari, your host, and I have Anne with me today.
Hey, y'all.
And Bree is with us as well. Hi, Bree.
Hey, everyone. Hello.
Well, we are looking at the season filled with now 41 Christmas movies that they're offering us from now until Christmas time, and on the Hallmark channel and the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel. You can expect recaps from the Hallmarkies podcast every week on these new movies over the weekend. So we today have the treat and the joy of talking, of recapping the first weekend of Hallmark movies. And that's 4 movies we're going to talk about. Girls, I think we're lucky. I think the 3 of us are very lucky to be talking about these movies this weekend. What did you think of these movies just overall?
I agree.
I agree. I think it's a strong start, which is good. But last year, one of the first movies stayed at the top of my list the whole time. And I can't decide if that's depressing or good. So
Wait, which one? Which one?
It was One Royal Holiday.
Okay. Yeah, Jingle Bell Bride was the first one from last year, and I loved that movie.
Yeah,
so
it stayed close to the top for me for that one too. But I think this is a great strong start with lots of different kind of movies that we had. So
yeah, fresh
exciting.
stories. It seems like fresh storylines, diversity, lots of diversity, even on this first weekend. Hilariously, and if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see I'm a blonde. I was like, hey-oh, no blondes this weekend. This might be the first for Hallmark.
It might be, really.
But I thought that was fantastic.
Funny.
That was so great. We had some really great new stars and favorite stars. Really fun weekend. I was excited.
Yeah.
One beef. What is my one beef with this weekend's movies?
The ding.
Yes, the ding. Oh my gosh. Hashtag what the ding. Yeah. What is happening?
Look, it is all over social media. People
are
like
mad.
adding Hallmark, like Hallmark, what's up with the ding?
Yeah.
And they're like retweeting it.
Okay. What was up with the ding? I noticed it in the second movie because I thought it was a part of the dream sequence.
I did too.
Yeah.
I thought it was part of the movie.
Yeah. When I think I was watching, whatever, you, me and the Christmas trees first. And even though it wasn't part of the dream, I still thought it was part of the movie because they just usually have that stuff pop up and there's no noise. Yeah. So I kept thinking, what is that noise? And then it kept happening. And I'm like, okay, this is happening every time we come from a commercial break. 45 seconds later, ding. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. And from what I could tell, they had this, it was a ding. And then it showed these 2 candy canes and a new movie or something. And I'm like, no, duh. I'm right here. Like this is on my calendar.
Like that's why I'm here. Yeah. It's just weird. And they could still put the candy cane all new and just have it pop up there with no noise.
Yeah. No noise.
Because I don't have hearing issues, but I imagine if you have hearing problems, that probably distracts you from the audio at the moment it's dinging.
Yes.
So that's not good either. It's, oh my gosh, it's just so annoying. We'll see next week.
Pulls you out of it.
What happens if they take it off?
I know.
Because I've seen so many comments, so they might take it, or at least the sound. They might delete the sound.
Hey, that's a good point. Maybe they would just take the sound away and leave whatever kind of scrolling thing they want to put up there, like the announcements and stuff. But I'm so curious to see if they're going to take that away this next weekend or not.
I'm curious too.
I feel like they will, you all. I feel like
somebody's watching. If somebody's watching Twitter, then they're like tallying up all this stuff or doing an algorithm or whatever. They're gonna see like these people are really upset.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope it's gonna be gone. We hope everybody. We really hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be funny. I think it would be kind of funny to have it be gone and be like, oh wow, we really influenced that or something, just like kind of roll with it, like just go with it. But if they keep that up all season, I don't
we can't do this now through
so
December.
We can't do that. Oh my goodness. Well, we've got 4 movies to talk about, like we said, and they started on Friday with the Friday premiere, which is kind of a new thing too, isn't it, Anne? A new.
It is. They did try. They did try a couple years ago, like a Thursday, Friday Hallmark Movies and Mysteries, and then Saturday, Sunday Hallmark Channel, and
Okay.
it didn't do well. So then the next year they changed it back to the same. But I think this is better. I think Thursday was obviously the lowest of that whole time. But
Yeah.
I think that Friday was a little bit better. And I think that it's so much better. I mean, for me as a viewer, I so much prefer there to be one on Friday than have Saturday like stacked with like all this stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then one later, Hallmark Movies and Mysteries is good.
Yeah. That's true. Now we're all in the really middle of America, so that our time zone, we don't have too late of a Saturday night with these
Yeah.
premieres.
It's
So
nice for us.
Yeah.
7:00, I'm like, yes.
I can do 7.
Me too. I can be home.
Sadly, the 8:00 ones, I'm like, maybe I should just record this and watch it tomorrow morning. It's like, I don't know, the hour difference is so great.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly. I know that's always an option. Well, that's really exciting to me actually to have like full weekends of movies. I think that's really fun. But let's talk about the first movie that premiered on the Hallmark Channel. It was called You, Me, and the Christmas Trees, starring Danica McKellar and Benjamin Ayres, written by Julie Sherman Wolfe, and directed by David Winning. And it's just a short synopsis. An arborist falls in love with a farmer as she tries to save his trees before the town tree lighting. What a perfect Hallmark synopsis, isn't it?
Yeah.
Certainly the most classic one of the weekend. Very classic.
So classic. Listen, this was, to me, everything a classic Hallmark movie should be. So to kick it off with You, Me, and the Christmas Trees was great. I thought that was a good idea because you have a tree farmer, the community tree lighting, a smart city girl who saves the day, like that's kind of what you tune in for. And they just delivered that classic movie for us. What did you think of this one, Bree?
I loved when she said science for the win. Like the world that we are living in, that is what we needed right there. I think that it was a really smart way to start because it was the more like classic Hallmark. And I liked it. I was like, okay, this might be my favorite of the weekend. We'll see how everything else does. And then the weekend just kept getting better. So what did you think, Anne? What did you think?
I liked it. Everyone knows that Rachel doesn't like the scientific farmer movies, and they're okay for me. It just depends on the one. But I think for one of those type of premise movies, I appreciated, the dialogue and the activities they did. I thought that Julie, she put some fun stuff for them to do in there and added some, that little twist at the end I didn't see coming, so she added some stuff to make it like elevated scientific farmer movie. And so that definitely helped it. And I thought it was a cute movie.
Yeah, I think it definitely helped it too. Her writing, like she made this science love story basically like palpable for those of us who aren't so scientific.
Sciencey, yeah.
But Danica McKellar is a STEM.
She was perfect for that role.
Yeah, she definitely. I was thinking that. I was like, this is a perfect role for her because of that. Yeah.
She makes it kind of fun, kind of interesting. And honestly, I have full disclosure. I love Benjamin Ayres. Like I liked him before I interviewed him for the podcast, but then when I interviewed him, like that just changes the game. I think to have a conversation.
Objectivity out the window.
Yeah.
Objectivity.
Anybody I've ever talked to, I can never like see them objectively again. It's like, nope. They're just so amazing and so wonderful and so kind. I see that when I watch them, and it's
I just loved him in his like vests. I was like, are we wearing vests though? It was so cute.
This is the new article of clothing for the season. Like everyone go out to TJ Maxx and get your vests. That is the Christmas article of clothing you need.
I'm not gonna lie, I did not see the twist coming at the end. I don't
No,
know
I
why.
didn't
I didn't see it
either.
coming.
I feel like they don't ever do stuff like that. So I was
Yeah.
like, I was literally like,
Yes.
I was like, Julie, okay, yes, like give us
Yes.
something different. I love that.
Yes.
She said she was
Yeah,
so proud of herself because at her viewing party, everybody was gasping, and she was like, okay, I did it.
and they kept that a secret. They really kind of kept that under wraps, and
Yeah.
that was fun. I did think her writing, I mean, her writing's just spectacular. She writes wonderful Hallmark movies. And this one I didn't think was any different. It was awesome. Like the banter. She kind of writes these characters that are very self-aware.
Mhm.
And I thought he was pretty self-aware. And she introduced a new holiday beverage, the the hard cider.
Mhm.
I was like, way to go. Like, let's just broaden our horizons here a little bit off of cocoa, and we're drinking hard cider and at the cidery. So I thought that was fun. Julie
Yeah.
for the win.
And I
Mhm.
thought with Danica's character, because in the beginning she's kind of hard to read. She's a little, you can tell she like just went through the breakup or whatever.
Yes.
And but by the end, she's spoken with her parents and got things
Yeah.
off of her chest. And you could tell she really doesn't want to leave this town, and she's committed to getting answers. And I felt like we get like a full character evolution with her.
Well,
So
that's the thing. We do
Yeah.
get some character development there on what on paper may look like a tried and true Hallmark story. You know, we get some character development and depth
Yeah.
from her.
Yeah.
Mhm. I agree. What did you think about the chemistry between the characters, Jack and Olivia?
I thought the chemistry was good. My only thing about the romance development was I felt, and this is weird for me to even say this, so I guess I need to just watch myself from now on.
Say
yeah,
it.
yikes. It felt too quick because a lot of times I say, oh, it's too long, but I was like, ooh, well, this seems too quick though. I felt like they warmed up to each other. It was like 10 minutes and it was like, all right, we're warming up. And I was like,
Right.
whoa, we need some like more tension and some,
Yeah.
like let us earn it,
We had the one little moment of tension when they crashed their cars, and
Yeah.
it was like
And that was like it.
that was okay.
Oh, but he had
Yeah.
some swoon-worthy one-liners in this movie.
He did. He did.
Which ones stood out to you? Do you remember
Eye
any?
contact too.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I
I
can't.
know, did
I remember it was all on Twitter. I was like, every time he said something, I was like, retweet what he just
Right.
said. I mean, to him, I felt like the attraction, like I really felt it more from him. I felt like
Yes.
she was really focused on helping the trees and still like being a little bit guarded and torn between, I know I got to be with my family who doesn't celebrate Christmas like this. And, but towards the end, like I definitely felt her come around, but I was like, man, the writer really gave him some sweet one-liners throughout this movie. It was good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like we lose that a little bit. We don't get that.
Yeah, that's true. I think he did have some good lines and some, there was some nice like swoony eye contact, happening. And I also personally I love the gift exchange thing because my family and like a couple other our families, we've been doing it for like 11 years. And we do it the same way they do it. Like you open it and then you get to swap. And so I thought that was fun to see. And then, that they both got the same book and they exchanged the same book. And
Right.
I like that. I had a personal connection for me. So I did it. I like that activity. Thought that was cute.
I love that too. I think he fell hard and he fell
did.
fast, and he was this adoring, he had these eyes for her, and they tried to they wanted to stay together, like in the same place. They didn't want to leave, so they kind of kept making it so, oh, I can drive you, or, being in the same spot. There was one line that I loved. He said, well, he caught her talking to a tree or something, and she was like, yes, fine, I talk to trees, happy. And he says, oh, you have no idea,
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah. Oh yes, I'm happy. So I thought they had chemistry, and honestly, I think that they had chemistry because of him. I mean, he kind of carried that and made me go, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. He
So,
did.
He
yeah.
said something at one point. I think she was about to sit and watch the trees. He's like, you don't have to. And he's like, no, I want to see where this goes. And you're like, we don't know if you're talking about the trees or if you're talking about with her. But yeah, it was good.
I liked that too.
He was
I
smooth.
Yeah, he was. He
was
I
cute.
liked it.
Yeah, so I thought they had good chemistry. The writing was good. The story was, like fresh enough on an old trope, that we have
Yeah.
like the save the something, save the
Yeah.
Christmas tree. And so as far as the first offering, the first movie from Hallmark, I thought they nailed it. I really did. I thought they nailed it. And let's rate them now. Let's give our ratings. And Anne, why don't you go first?
What are we doing? Are we doing like the actual?
No, we're doing a 1 to 5 crowns.
Okay. I like that better. Okay.
Yeah.
I need there to be 5 things, not 4. So that just makes my brain happy. Okay. So I gave it a 3.
Okay.
And people really people think 3s are bad. I'm here to tell you 3s are not bad. Okay. 3 is in the middle. That means it's average.
Yeah.
Anything below a 3, now that's probably bad.
Yeah.
Above a 3, that's like a good compliment. A 3 is like average. And where I'm coming from is I thought it was going to be a 2. So to me, a 3 is good because I was expecting a 2.
Yes.
So I'm just saying all this because people just really think 3s are so bad. But I think it was a 3 because I think that Julie's writing elevated it because it certainly could have been a 2 or possibly even a 1. But her writing elevated it to have sweet and cute and romantic moments that I think that it's a 3 for me. So.
Yeah.
That's my rant there.
That's your little rant. Well, I mean, sometimes you get flack for that middle of the road and people want you to do a little bit more high or low, but it's okay to have a middle of the road because that can even be like the test, for other movies. Like, hey, this first one was a 3. It was good. I liked it, but I wonder if there's other ones that are going to top it, or I wonder if there's going to be ones that are worse. So, Bree, what about you?
Can I do a 3.5 or no?
Yes.
Oh yeah. We're all about half crowns and quarter crowns and
Yeah, it's a 3.5 for me. It took me by surprise. I mean, I like Danica. I'm not going to say she's my favorite Hallmark actress, but I do really like her. But I think definitely what saved it for me was him. Like he had so many you could tell he was into her, and it just kept me because you never knew when it was going to happen. She would say something totally random, and then here he'd come with this really smooth comeback. And I'm like, yes, give me that. And then, and then the end with her solving this mystery I wasn't really expecting to happen.
Right.
These guys like, let's take a selfie. And they're like, okay. I was like, okay.
Smart.
Yes. So yeah, 3.5 for me.
Well, I love that. And I also gave it a 3.5. There were some elements that I just thought were so good. Even the supporting cast I thought were really fun. His cousin and his mom and his best friend at the cidery and the wife. And, there were just some, each person who came on the screen, I just thought was great. So just overall, I thought it was a good movie, and that's a 3.5 for me.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
Great. You mean the Christmas trees. Good job, Hallmark. That was a good one. Okay, the second movie that we're going to talk about is Boyfriends of Christmas Past. And this is starring...
Oh, goodness.
Oh, gosh.
This is the one I have been waiting literally since it aired to talk to you
well,
about.
I am waiting for Bree to talk about this movie.
Okay.
All right. So
keep going here. Keep going.
Let's get into it.
I'm so glad. Okay, this is starring Catherine Hannah Kim and Raymond Ablack. Written by Edie Grace, who wrote the book, and then Lisa Parsons wrote the movie. Directed by Don McBrady. So the synopsis is: leading up to Christmas, Lauren is visited by the ghosts of 4 ex-boyfriends. She must learn to open her heart or risk losing her best friend, Nate. That is a synopsis of Boyfriends of Christmas Past. Bree, what are your opening comments about this movie?
Yes.
Okay. When I finished this movie, I had the same feelings that I had with Love Strikes Twice. I'm like, this is one of those movies that needed like another 30 minutes because I just don't believe it.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't, I felt as though, and somebody was tweeting with me on Twitter. They're like, they nailed it. They're like, she realized that she quote unquote loved him after she saw him with somebody else. And I'm like, that's how I feel too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was no denying that Nate was dreamy and he was absolutely crazy about her. But
Yes.
I never felt that with Lauren. So that's my rant. What do y'all
Okay.
think?
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. I can definitely see what you're saying. Because mine is different than yours, but I do think that there's a timing issue for me.
Mhm.
So I guess in that way, what I think is the same. I think that either there needed to be more time or they needed to give us more time. Like the switch, but when she got the realization, it needed to be sooner to be
Yes.
believable.
Yes.
And
Yes.
just to give us like at least 20 minutes of the end of the movie of her realizing it instead of
Yes.
2 minutes of her realizing it. And that happens a lot with me with these things. Like someone in our chat said it's much easier to do in a TV show, which is very true. You have unlimited time. You're not stuck to 86 minutes. But yeah, it needed to be the switch over needed to be sooner. I don't know if they could have cut one of the boyfriend's dreams.
Yes, that's what I was
Done it,
thinking.
at least by like with 20 minutes left, because like the last switching it in like the last 3 minutes, it's not enough time for me.
No.
And
Well,
yeah.
it's not enough time because we want to see more. I want to be convinced that Lauren is now all in on Nate.
Exactly.
He was all in on her the whole movie.
Yeah.
She wasn't. We were like, Lauren, like, come on, look,
We were
open your
like
eyes.
banging her head with a pot in her hands. We're like, Lord, wake up.
Eyes. And so these last 2 minutes, even when she realizes it and then she goes to him, like, actually she could convince me in those last 2 minutes if she was warm, open-hearted, like her face was all in. But then they tease us with this hesitancy even of like the engagement, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
like, throw yourself at him at that point.
Yes.
What took you a year to ask me? But okay, back it up. At least
We have a whole movie. We just kind of skipped it.
back it up.
My bad, guys. My bad.
Now, what do we like about this movie?
What do we like? Do we all have a new favorite Hallmark hero? Nate.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Wow. Nate is, I'm so fortunate to have seen Raymond A. Black, is that how you say his name?
Mhm.
In other things. So I was familiar with him, but this gave him, more time than I've seen him before. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like if you're not in love with this man, then I don't know what movie you're watching, because every woman is like in front of their TV, like, what is wrong with you? Nate is trying to buy you and bring you food all day, every day. I would just be like the biggest person on the planet, but the happiest person, because he's so sweet. Like, food is obviously his love language. He's constantly like ordering her food at her house and like trying to buy her pizza and trying to bring her, take her to an Italian restaurant, which is my favorite. I'm like, what's wrong with you? This man is amazing.
Yeah.
And beautiful.
How do you friend zone Nate after? He's been there through everything. I couldn't tell if she didn't get it or if she was legitimately like, I'm not a relationship person, and like knew it, but I couldn't really tell. I couldn't really tell.
I think Bree, she was scared that she wasn't a relationship person. And so confronting that would mean giving up Nate. And so to keep him, I think it was a little bit of a intentional keep him in the friend zone type of thing, because
I don't want to lose him.
Figure herself out.
Oh yeah.
But he's the best thing going for her, so she's like, oh no, what if I am like my mom and I actually am not a relationship person?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And she says to somebody else, like, I don't want to hurt Nate. And I'm like, oh, well, you should have told Nate, look, I'm not going there with you because I don't want to hurt you. So that maybe he could have like moved on. But
Yeah, because homegirl saw him for the amazing person he was, and she was going after it.
Lily wasted no time with Nate.
Yeah, she was like, woo, okay,
Yes.
go.
Yes.
Now he was this Nate, I mean, he's so handsome, and he's so just delightful to like his acting and stuff. But I first saw him as a C character in an Up movie actually this summer, and I thought, give this man a leading role. He is so good, even in this C character, this side character. But so here he carried this movie for me a little bit. Like, for some reason, I was actually surprised that he was in these dreams for some reason. I don't know why. That obviously that was the whole point of it. But then he comes in, and the boyfriends are trying to tell her that Nate, like, open your eyes to Nate and see Nate.
Mhm.
What did you think of the boyfriends?
The high school one trip, I was like,
That
what?
was so fun. That was funny.
We all did that. We all dated Tyler Mursky.
Tyler. I thought it really made her see how terrible of a person she was, because I didn't think any of them were bad.
Right.
Like, you had some good guys, and then as soon as they get like really serious, it's like, oh my gosh, the one breakup outside, I'm like, girl, like what are you doing? It just, I thought it was a fun way to kind of have this slap in the face of like, this is your issue, this is what you do every time. And so I thought that they served a fun purpose. But like Anne said, I think maybe only having 3 could have like cut back on some time, and then we could have had a little bit more development with her feelings with Nate.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, she was the Scrooge, for lack of a better, the Scrooge of relationships, in this movie, with these boyfriends of Christmas past coming under. So we don't really like Scrooge even until the very end, when he does change his ways, and he has that moment where he, wants to
It's very
celebrate.
true.
Yeah.
Because it was very evident if you were on Twitter or if you were just in your house, everyone was like Team Nate, like 1000%, like not on her side. They were like on Team Nate. So, and like you said,
I was thinking about that. I was like, how does she feel?
Yeah, we're all like rooting for Nate so hard. And I think it's because of what you're saying. Like, she is the Scrooge character. And so, we're not really supposed to be like, go Scrooge,
Yeah.
He's supposed to have a realization, redemption, realize,
right,
whatever he's doing wrong, she's doing wrong in this case, or what's happening. And so, you could feel that, though, definitely, that everyone was on Nate's side. So
totally on Nate's side. Now, she does have some realizations about herself and some conversations with her dad, her appa, and those were really sweet moments, I thought. Yeah.
I love that last question. I love the last conversation, especially. I thought it was really good and just done well. And I loved her dad. I thought he was fun when he needed to be fun, and then more serious when he needed to be serious. And I like that.
Yeah,
I just love the Korean family and them talking about soju, and I was like, way to go, Hallmark.
Yeah.
Way to go.
The rice flour and the twist on when they said it was Korean Nutella or something,
right.
Whatever it was, I can't remember the name of it, but I thought that was funny too.
And soji, like, I totally wanted, like, they kept wanting to bring a case of soji. Is that what it was? Like, I'm like, oh, I want to try some of that now. Like, what is that? And so,
it's heavy. I've tried it.
Heavy?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll clear out all your sinuses.
Oh, okay. I could use that about now. So.
Well, I thought they just did a really nice job of a seamless kind of cultural references,
Mhm.
and this was her family, this is what they do, the Nate's going to be a part of this, and just some of these things that really, it wasn't trying to educate us, the
Yeah.
audience. It was just like, come into my world, this is what we do, I'm going to talk about this, I'm not even going to tell you what it is,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
liked that.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it when it's effortless. It's
it feels
not.
natural.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, exactly. Well, this had a lot of fun aspects to it, in my opinion. It had a beautiful cast. Everyone was just so great. Um, I didn't even care that we didn't know why these ghosts were coming, because like I didn't care about that because I liked the story. I just wanted- Did that bother you guys?
I just love how she got into it. She's like, please, no ex-boyfriend show up tonight.
Yeah. She was like, I don't want to go to sleep. I'm
Yeah.
worried somebody's gonna wake me up in my cute pajamas.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my many, many cute pajamas.
Yeah, in my several sets of cute pajamas that I wear consecutively every night, different pajamas.
And then at one point she's just like, let me get my coat.
Yeah.
She totally did. Yeah, I thought she was I actually liked her as an actress. I'd like to see her in more, even if her character Lauren bugged a little bit, just
Mhm.
kind of just didn't get it.
Yeah.
But I liked this this Catherine. I thought she was great. Well, it's time to rate Boyfriends of Christmas Past. So Anne, Anne, we started with you last time. Bree, what would you rate this movie?
I was gonna say, go Anne, go.
Oh, no.
I think this one is a 3 for me. This is a 3.
Okay. Yeah. And just kind of middle of the road, there's things you liked about it, things that you would want to change, or
Yeah, this is it. It needed some more time for me, but we know we're not going to get that. So I don't know how you do
hard.
that with the 2, the time that we do get, but yeah.
That's I mean, I think
It's
we
hard.
told them
Mhm.
how you do it. You have one less boyfriend,
Slash a boyfriend, one boyfriend
Yes.
slashed.
20 minutes devoted to Kate and Lauren. That's how they could have
Yeah.
done that. But
That would have been definitely
Or
better,
at least,
yeah.
I mean, they could have been like, we could have maybe seen, we had those few moments, right, where you can tell that she's like, especially when Lily comes in, she'd like be looking over there at Nate or whatever. And I'm like, okay, girl, are you feeling him or what? But if we could have maybe gotten just some more scenes where it's like, maybe she does like him. I never really felt like I had a scene where I was like,
you weren't
she's into Nate.
convinced.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
that's true.
I was hoping in the carriage. I'm like, okay, girl's gonna get it in the carriage. And I'm like, no, she's not gonna get it.
She was a mood ruiner. She ruined the movie.
Yeah, she
You
did.
could see his little romantic heart just shrivel up and die.
Yeah, you really could.
did.
Especially that time he was like, okay, I think he thought it too. Okay, the carriage, it's romantic. We got the blanket. Maybe we can, accidentally touch hands and then something magical is going to happen. And then she's like, knows he's about to reveal it. So she's just like thinking how she can run away. And I'm just like, oh, you're ruining this.
You just totally inspired my pitch. I'm like, girl, you are about to kiss Nate. What are you doing? I don't know.
Oh man. Oh yeah. So Anne, what would you give it?
Okay, so I'm so not objective, especially when it comes to diversity. I like give them slack, I guess, because I'm just so desperate. That sounds so bad, but I really am. So I gave it a 4 just because it was different and I appreciated the cultural references and just the diversity of the cast and just something different.
Mhm.
But I definitely, that lingering, not giving it that is because of the timing, because of not, feeling like I had enough time with her and Nate and with her clicking it and understanding it and having that time.
Yeah.
And that if I didn't have that 1 year later moment, I would have an even lower score. Like I needed some payoff, but like you said, like she still hesitated, which I guess shows her childhood trauma. But like by that point, I'm like, if you don't jump into this man's arms immediately, like weird, what's wrong with you? But I needed that. I did need that. Like without that, it would, I would have been lower. Like I like just really needed to see like some conclusion of this, story and, coming to a close. So
Yeah. I think that you're right on with so many of these things. And I also gave it a 4 out of 5. It was fun. It was fresh. It was funny. I thought I loved all the characters that came in, and just to kind of, I definitely wish it was longer for the reasons that you said, Bree. I think that would have been just made it a 5. It would have been
Yeah.
really fun to see. But it had so much going for it for me that I was like, this is great. And it's one that I would totally get my teenage girls in the room, like, hey, come in, let's watch this movie. This was a really fun one. And I think that
The ex-boyfriends were cute. I mean, with the exception of Tyler, because he's a kid, but
yeah.
all the ex-boyfriends were cute too.
Yeah, they were. She had good taste.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere for me with Hallmark. This one, I was like, is that
I was so
Hallmark, or
surprised.
is that a Lifetime? Is that a Hallmark? Like, is that a Netflix one? I didn't know. So I want to see more like this.
Yeah.
A little bit more developed, but 4 out of 5 for me as well.
Hey Hallmarkies, it's time to take a quick break to talk about something super fun. How would you like to party with your favorite celebrities from the Christmas and seasonal movies that you love so much? If you enjoy watching romantic dramas on network television and streaming services, you don't want to miss the Rama Drama live event coming soon in 2022. Spend the weekend escaping into the Rama Drama world and meeting your favorite on-screen celebrities like Trevor Donovan, Ryan Pavey, Andrew Walker, Jen Lilly, Wes Brown, Brittany Bristow, Aaron Cahill, Rob Mays, and more. These fan-focused in-person parties cater to movie lovers just like you. Make memories, leave with photos, autographs, swag, and an exceptional experience to last a lifetime. Join us in Palm Beach, Florida on January 7th through 9th, 2022 at the Palm Beach Convention Center. You can get more information and your tickets from ramadrama.com. Again, that's ramadrama.com.
The third movie from the weekend is Christmas in My Heart, starring Heather Hemmings and Luke McFarlane, Maria Nash, and Cheryl Lee Ralph, written by Jamie Pacino, Sherry Sharp, and Liz Storm, and it's directed by Pat Kiley. A violinist, Beth, returns home after the recent death of her mother and tutors the daughter of a reclusive country music star to prepare for her upcoming holiday concert. So tender. This was such a tender movie.
Yeah.
I really, really liked it. And the whole time I'm watching this, I could not help but think of you, my friend Anne.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm like,
I
my
appreciate that.
biracial friend Anne. Like,
Yeah.
you have a white dad. You have a
Exactly. Which a lot of people don't know, which is surprising. Well, not surprising, but specifically in interracial Black and white couples, most of the time it's the man is Black and the woman is white. It's significantly less that the man is white and the woman is Black. And so, yeah, when I was a child, I remember when the Cheerios commercial with, interracial couple was like taken off TV, and so like in that, now that I'm older, like they are showing, either all the kinds of combinations of interracial couples.
Yeah.
But it's less significant in the world and on TV that you do see, Black women, especially with white men. And so just when I saw this poster and the casting, I was like, oh my gosh, like this, just touches my heart to see this. And I told my mom, I'm like, you have to watch this movie because you will appreciate it, because your daughter's biracial and you're Black and, dad's white, and it'll just mean more to you. And she's looking forward to watching it as well. But yeah, it really touched my heart, a lot of the things in the movie, and just that this is a movie on Hallmark, and this is there's still been very few just interracial couples overall, in the last in years. And so I was so excited to watch this movie, and I thought they did a great job, and I just really enjoyed it. So it's nice.
Well, to have an interracial couple and then to have that depiction of a white father raising a Black daughter,
Yeah.
you know, and he's a country music star.
Yeah.
Come on now. So yeah, I was like, oh man, this is fabulous. This is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was great.
And it had you know, it's so it was interracial, but it was also like the music was
Yeah.
crossing over with the country and classical, and they're
Yeah.
learning to appreciate each other's music
Mm-hmm.
along kind of, that was like the sub storyline, obviously, but too, because I thought the relationship with race was the main storyline, honestly. Like, even though it was Christmas in My Heart and it's all about music, like they're really dealing with this daughter, Katie, was kind of subtly saying certain things, and you kind of see it on his face, the dad, and the grandma's face too, like, oh, we got to have conversations about this. Oh, let's talk
Yeah.
about hair, right? Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that was a sweet scene with the
I like literally teared up. And
you?
I mean, I think it wasn't even that what they were saying was like revolutionary. It was just like, am I tuned into Hallmark Channel because I can't believe I'm seeing this, and I'm emotional because I'm like in so much shock that
Yeah.
and just the content of what they're saying. I mean, mixed race children have so many different types of hair. It's like the variety is insane. But you know, I have you know, different kind of hair as well, which is like always pressed and nice because that's what I believe is acceptable and what I've seen as pretty and has affected me in my own way. So I totally understood like what she was saying, and you know, and that kind of thing. And so I think I really identified with that as a 30-year-old woman, you know, just seeing what cultural thinks is acceptable for, you know, hair that is not straight, hair that can be crazy and wavy and just different and just ethnic, and you know, and how we just feel uncomfortable when it's like that because of what we've heard and how people react and what we think is culturally acceptable. And so I was really touched by that scene. I thought it was, you could tell, you're like, okay, someone wrote this who has, you know, who understands this and who, you know, has a personal relationship to Black hair. And you could really feel that. And that's what, you know, having a writer of the background of the races or culture that you're talking about, that's the richness that it adds. It's this, you know, this special moment of just realness.
Well, hearing you say all of that makes me think back, I think, to the one line in the movie that just got me when she said, you know, she was talking to the what's our heroine's name, guys? I forgot her name.
No,
anyway,
hey, it is Beth.
She's talking to Beth, and she's like, she wanted to be a violinist, but when she saw people on TV, they never looked, they didn't look like her. And I'm like, that is why representation matters. I mean, kids of color have to watch TV all the time and not see themselves. And you know, just like Anne just shared her experience as a little girl, she didn't see people that looked like her, you know. And I'm just, I was very proud of Hallmark, you know, Miracles of Christmas for having this movie. Oh my gosh, I loved it.
I thought their journey through music was really precious too. You know, just
it was
the family grief, the healing, the not that you move on, but the living of life, you know, after grief. And for the grandma, it was this gospel choir that she's leading after losing her daughter. For, you know, Sean, the country music star, he couldn't write anything really because he didn't have his wife there. He hadn't written in a long time, and no muse. And then for Beth with the violin, and Katie with the violin. I mean, music played such an important role here for their grief. That was very cool. I
really loved that race wasn't like a big conflict in it. I mean, I didn't really feel like it was. It was a movie about family, you know. I just felt like it was a beautiful movie about family. I love seeing Luke with, you know, the scenes where it's just him and the grandma in the church. Talking,
I love that scene.
It
really did. Cheryl Lee Ralph is so good. She was so great in this movie, and she's just so good in everything she does. But I love that scene when they were in the church. It just felt so real and natural. And I just loved, I think I wrote down what she said to him.
Well, no wonder he moved Katie home to be near her grandma. She really needed her grandma's presence. So did he. I think he really did too. But what did she say, Anne?
She said, you can't just be here, you have to live here.
Mm.
And I thought that was just so good. He's like, yeah, like you've been holed up in this house out in the country for 3 years. Like you haven't been living here. You just been like breathing oxygen in that house here, but not actually doing
She
anything.
called him
And
out.
and she did. And she was like, and she did it with, intention. And I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, this is awesome. So I love
Well,
that.
I thought that was kind of cool too, because she is encouraging him to go live. And then like this next couple scenes later, she walks into the house and Beth and him are there. And she kind of thinks she walks in on something, but
Her
she
face when they
goes
open
with
the door.
She's so good.
but she kind of goes with it. And, she's kind of like, this is what I've, told him to do type of thing. Like, if this is how he interprets that. But, one thing I want to mention, just like from the director's intention, I don't know if he intended this, but this is how I took it. There were many times that he cut from like, person to person, like scene to scene, kind of like these seamless cuts back and forth with the same song, maybe like the same music. And it just really felt like they were on a journey, like the same journey of like healing and hope and newness.
Yeah.
And both of them were really on this journey together. So it was really cool that way. I thought it was directed very well.
Yeah.
I love that it was low conflict, but it also had conflict throughout the story. Like we didn't have some crazy dark moment or whatever. We just know she may possibly take this violinist job and he may go back to Nashville, so that's kind of in the back of your mind the whole time. I was like, oh girl, please don't take a picture and like put it on the internet. Like it could have, that
my
was
gosh.
thing.
I was like, oh no.
I was hoping that was
do it.
He was very serious about it. And I think I like that the only conflict that they really had, it was like early in the movie. And so I was like, ooh, I was like, is this going to mean like the last 15 minutes, we're not going to have conflict?
Yeah.
Which I'd really rather not, at least at that time, like right when it's like,
right.
So I was like, okay, it's like a conflict, like, an hour, 10 minutes in. So it was kind of early. And then he apologized to her, says, oh, we'd love to have you back. And then it's like, it's pretty, like you're wondering about where the location stuff, but everything, works out and is good. And I like that it wasn't right at the end.
Do you think that I was sad in the garage when he was, first of all, I thought he was a great dad. He was such a good dad, like just the way he like talked to her and drew her out, and he thought he wasn't very good, but I thought he was really sweet. But he said something to her. He was really nervous that Katie was getting too attached to Beth. And he's like, don't let people in so quickly. Like, where he was pulling away, he was watching his daughter just open her heart to people too fast.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, buddy, like you need to you need to open your heart.
You putting your own problems on her.
Yeah.
I think he was also coming from the perspective of he doesn't want to see his little girl get her heart broken if this lady leaves.
Yeah.
But I was also like, but come on, Luke, she's a kid. Okay.
Right. She's a kid.
And they can relate to each other. They've both lost their mother.
Exactly. Like, they can relate to each other. Like she's a Black woman. Like they can relate on that level. I was really sad they didn't get to do the angel thing together. I was hoping to see that. But I mean, we still got to see them. We still got to see each of them put their own angel on their own tree. But I was hoping they were going to do one together. But that was still nice to see that. But I thought that they just did it really well. And, they, it wasn't preachy, but it was just, real things that people in grief or just, a white dad raising a Black daughter deal with. And that the grandmother knew like, okay, I'm the only, Black mother figure here. Like I need to make sure to have these conversations with her that her dad can't have because he doesn't understand. And I love the continuity that in the concert, because her, Cheryl Lee Ralph's character asked her how she wanted to wear her hair for the concert. And she said, I want to wear it out, but I know I should wear it, you know, slicked back because that's more professional. And I love that, you know, they changed it. Like her hair was braided, you know, her grandmother braided her hair, and then it came to the concert, you know, she had it out. And I love the continuity of that. Like, she's like, you know, be confident, like do what you want to do, like with your own hair. Don't worry about, you know, other people. And so I did appreciate that as well, that they brought that at the end.
They did.
Since she had said that specifically.
She did. You're right. She definitely did. And she just did such a beautiful job at her concert. Then with Beth and her dad coming to kind of save her at the same time. I thought that was kind of cute. But oh, okay. Last question about this movie, unless you guys have more to say. But what did you think about their chemistry? Did you believe them as a couple? Like, can you see them going forward as a family?
I can.
Yeah.
I can.
I can too. I have a special projection of my own onto it, but I can.
Yeah.
They're
like opposites, but they complemented each other so well.
Exactly. They complement each other, and her and Katie had such a good relationship, and the same passion for music. I can just see her being really good, you know, stepmother, you know, later down the line. And, you know, and I thought that her and Luke had, you know, good chemistry. I love Heather. I watched her show, Roswell, New Mexico. She's so good. And I think she's great for Hallmark. I hope she does more. I just like her a lot, and she's just so stunning as well.
And shout out to them, because Hirsch was Jewish.
Yes.
I don't know if we'll get like another Jewish movie like we did last year, but I love seeing that, because not everybody celebrates Christmas.
So everybody celebrates.
That was nice.
He brought the presents, the 8 nights of presents. He brought which was a drum set, he told her, and they were making latkes and they were doing other things. Like, he was just bringing in his traditions as well. So like you said, Bree, it was a very, very family oriented movie, and they needed each other. They helped each other grieve and heal, and they kind of became, you could see them becoming like this great family. Even Grandpa, her dad with Katie, and her dad, I think, talked to Sean at one point about grief, about losing your wife.
Does it ever get easier?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I know.
Yeah,
that was so sweet.
It's a good tie-in too. Yeah, it was lots of just everybody trying to check in, help, give advice, be there, you know, for each other in the specific ways at different times that each person needed it. And I just thought it was just done so well. I was just like, this is like I'm so impressed. Miracles at Christmas, you are bringing it. Like in the first 20 minutes, it was like hair conversation, Jewish person, latke making. I was like, whoa, what is happening? This is
totally great. And I thought that this was a great role for Luke McFarlane, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was so good in it. He had this awesome, like, cute little Southern accent, like subtle Southern accent. He was a great dad. He played a really good recluse, like a reserved character.
All the hair on his face. He looked kind of rough.
Yeah.
He was grieving. He was tender. He was like tearing up at some points. I was like, Luke, this is.
Yeah, I was like, man, this role was made for him. Like, this was his role. He did a good job.
He did a very good job. And I'm not like his biggest fan or anything, but I think he did it. I think he did a great job.
But don't you think that part of this was because it was not like the Luke McFarlane show? It was an ensemble. It was really.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that helped, but also, like, I think like it needed to be a certain person for this role who could be reserved, who could be like seriously peering in what a grandma and her talking about, you know, having a conversation, you know, with the, you know, it needed to be a certain person. And if you would have asked me, I would not have said that it should be Luke McFarlane, but he rose to the occasion, and he did it well. And when he was in that shop with that turtleneck and that jacket, I was like, this is the most handsome I've ever seen Luke McFarlane in one of these movies. Like, he looks so handsome right now with this record shop, with this banter. Yeah. I loved when they met in that banter. I love that.
Yeah, that was fun. So my opinion, I mean, I just liked this movie. I don't think it needed to be a Christmas movie. I mean, Christmas in my heart, you know, but I think they could have taken a lot of what was so good about this movie and put it
It could
They
have
could
fit
put it
anywhere.
actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But just Christmas as a backdrop was beautiful. And of course, the singing and the songs, and we got to hear a gospel choir sing these beautiful traditional Christmas songs. And I loved that. I thought that was great. So,
Yeah. It's good.
okay, let's rate it. And
Good job. I get, and I don't even know why. Now I'm telling you, but I gave it a 4. But now I'm talking about it. I want to give it something higher.
oh, you can change it.
No,
You can
I don't
always
know.
change it.
Yeah, I feel like I want to give it like a little bit higher. I'm so bad, like you guys. I'm so bad at rating things because I need things to be in specific categories to rate them. Like, like I'm like, it's really hard for me to rate a rom-com next to something more dramatic. And I'm
Right.
just like, it's
Yeah,
so difficult
yeah.
for me. Like I really struggle. So I think that for like Hallmark movies and mystery movie, like this is like so good.
Mhm.
So good.
And I think my preference is, rom-com. And but I think that this movie and what it was trying to do and what it did do is so good. So I'm gonna give it a higher score. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 because I think that what it's trying to do, obviously not being a rom-com, just being a heartwarming Christmas movie. It did that. It did that very well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Hallmark
the
movie
same for me.
mysteries. Awesome.
That's the same
Oh,
for me. It's
thank
a 4.5. Everything Anne said, but it didn't feel forced. Like it
No.
just
Yeah.
felt
Mm-mm.
so casual and like this is just what it is,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I actually also have it as a 4.5. So I think that we're all going there because like you said, Anne, to put it against my 4 out of 5 for Boyfriends of Christmas Past, it's the apples and oranges.
Yeah, exactly. It's two totally different things. So it's hard to, yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
this one brought more of the feels for me, brought more of
Mhm.
the kind of the what Christmas is all about as far as family oriented,
Yeah.
connection and hope. It was so hopeful. It was
It was.
so sweet. So this is a high one for me. I really loved Christmas in My Heart. So 4.5 for all of us. That it's a winner.
It's a new classic, everybody. It's a new classic.
It is a new classic.
Watch it every
I mean,
year.
Twitter agreed. Those people were like raving, and I was like, okay, like it can't be like this good. Then I was like, oh wow, this movie is like
Yeah.
this movie is really good. Like I'm glad they're right. Like it's like one of the things that they can't be right, but you want them to be, and then you're like, wow, like yeah, they did this like well. And I did see one of the writers. I don't know if she's fully Black or if she's biracial, but one of them, she is Black, or so I think that definitely, it does. Yeah,
Like you said, that
really
matters.
well.
That
Adds
matters in writing
richness
something
into the
real.
story. Yeah.
Mhm. You're writing something real. You're writing something genuine because you're speaking into it from experience, and that you can tell.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, Hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Kari from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/Hallmarkies.
Let's totally change gears and talk about the last.
Yeah, whoa, like whiplash change gears.
We are totally whiplashing here.
Oh man.
We are talking the fourth movie of our weekend, the Santa Stakeout, starring Tamara Mowry Housley, Paul Campbell, and Joe Pantoliano, written by Greg Rosen and Brian Sawyer, and directed by Peter Benson. Tanya, a police detective who's partnered with a fellow detective, Ryan, to solve a recent string of heists. They go undercover as newlyweds, moving into a vacant house next to Mr. Miller, the prime suspect in a case. Who said they could write a Christmas mystery movie? That was so funny. Who said?
Oh my gosh, who did say? Because wow.
Yeah.
I watched it again this afternoon just to make sure I wasn't crazy. I really did. I was like, let me just watch it again and make sure I really saw the amazingness that
What
I
I
saw
saw.
on television last night. Like, oh my gosh.
This was
My
not a
mom
Hallmark
called me.
offering.
Right. My mom called me like halfway through. She's like, she called me laughing. She's like, are you watching this Hallmark movie? I was like, yes, I am. It was so good, you guys. Where did this come from?
Good.
I know. I don't know.
Where did it come from? Where did it come from? Okay, first of all, we have just these two great actors in it that they
Yes.
are top notch. They could hold their own movie and yet put them together. And from what I think I saw or read somewhere, I think this director, Peter Benson, kind of let them improv. Did you guys see that? Like,
I heard something about that they let them really kind of play and do some some
let them
improv.
play with the script, let them improv. And I love stuff like that.
Mhm.
I love that. So that I thought their banter was really fun.
Oh
And
my gosh.
more fun because you're like, was that scripted or did they just come up with that? Like, I just didn't know. So that was fun. Bree, what did you think of this movie?
I loved the whole like two cops turning into a fake marriage. I was like, oh, this is going to be a mess. And it just, they worked so well together. They fed off of each other. I loved the police captain. I loved the police officer Talbot, who was like always falling and making a mess of things. And they were so hilarious. Like, oh my gosh, the scene there are parts of it that I still was like laughing about today. Like when Paul Campbell says to the officer Talbot, he's like, what are you doing looking like a powdered donut?
Yes.
I mean, I knew Paul Campbell was great, but seeing him be funny was everything that I needed. And they just, their chemistry was crazy. It was amazing.
I love that Paul Campbell is so good, but like he has never shined this way.
Yeah.
Because they've never allowed him to. The scripts have never been so comedic like this. He was able to just shine everywhere. Like, whoa, like he is so good at this. And obviously Tamara has comedic chops. I mean, Sister was it's a comedy.
Yeah.
And she's so, so it's like this, I was like worried. I was like, I hope this pairing will be great because I know they both can do comedy. And then when it was in action, I was like, this is so good. Like and the writing was so good. The dialogue, the banter was so funny. Paul Campbell's facial expressions to some of this stuff, I was just dying.
When he was playing the keyboard.
Yes, I loved when I loved that moment that they became newlyweds kind of like on accident, like they got found out and they became newlyweds on accident. That wasn't the assignment. They weren't supposed to be involved.
Yeah, exactly.
So how did you like just kind of how they got involved in the neighborhood, how they were spying? Like, did you feel like they were doing their actual job or were they actually getting into their playing house more?
I like that the lines were so blurry because you kind of forget that they're doing a job, but then they'll like reel you in, like when they're over there for the Christmas party and she's going to the bathroom, but she gets lost. I'm just and then they're at the table and she gave him a sheet. Like, this is how we met.
I was like, oh, this is such a husband thing to do. Not read something or.
And I love that she saved his butt so many times. Like he's the one that reminds you that they were on job because he never knew what to say. He didn't know how to make up things on the spot. So she'd have to like swoop in and save him. It was great.
And he knew that she was there because like one time he's like, yeah, honey. And then she's like, and she says what, to save him from like, 4 times of different things happening. Oh my gosh. And what I loved is, I think Paul prepared me well because he kind of was like this crime storyline takes precedence over the romance. So my expectation was just right, I think. Thank you, Paul Campbell, because expectations can really ruin things. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, Paul, like, yeah, you're right. But there's a nice, at the right pace, brewing romance here, like just at the right pace that we need it, just enough moments to give us the romance we want. But we have so much comedy that it's just so great and so fresh. Oh my gosh. And then they have these little moments of sprinkled of like just sweet things that Mr. Christmas is like advice on life, like telling them, and you're just like, this man cannot be doing
He
this.
can't
like,
be the bad guy.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And then the music would change, you know, when it was a sweet moment, the music would change, and it was just done really well.
So you liked their chemistry. You thought they had actual romantic chemistry, because they had comedic chemistry quite a bit, but the romantic chemistry worked for you.
It did. It worked for me. Both of them worked for me. Well, I think this movie balanced, you know, so many things it was balancing, and I think they juggled it all somehow. I don't know how. It's hard to do, but they really did.
Yeah. Did it work for you too, Bree? The romantic chemistry?
Yeah. That like forced close proximity, you know, it was just brewing for me. Oh my gosh, the scene where they're like, how did you meet? He's like, the gym. And then he kind of get stuck in, they start talking about the spin class. And I'm like, I hope he does a poem. Please do a poem. But it was
man, yeah. That would have been good.
But yeah, it was believable. I don't know. They did a lot with this movie, but somehow they pulled all of it off. And seeing who the director was, he's been in some Hallmark movies before, I think. And I was like, this makes sense why this is so funny, because it's like, I feel like that's his personality too. So this was a hit, you guys.
It really was.
This Peter Benson he has been in Hallmark movies. He has a great career in Canada, you know, with things he's written, and his wife's been in Hallmark movies. And but this, I feel like I'd like to talk to him one day. I feel like he's finding his sweet spot with producing and directing, and he's just pulling out some great stuff. He was the director of photography. What did I read on Boyfriends of Christmas?
Oh wow!
Oh really?
Good for him.
He was doing that. Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't direct it. He didn't direct it, but he played some sort of role in behind the scenes there, and I was like, okay. So let's talk about that ending. Tell me about the what you thought about how everything wrapped up. You said it wrapped up so nicely for you. Like, what did you think about that, Bree?
Well, did you have an idea of the whodunit? Because I didn't.
No, I didn't. I thought that for some reason there was like one comment made by I forgot his name, the Black neighbor and his wife, like something about art.
Stanley.
Yeah, something about, you know, something about art with them. And so then I thought, okay, maybe it's them, because I know it can't be this guy. His heart is like so sweet and tender about his wife. And so I was like, maybe it's them, but I had no idea. So at the end I was like, oh my gosh, I was so surprised, which I loved. I loved that I didn't know.
I was like, is it the like flirty neighbor girl that keeps
she was so weird. That was hilarious. I love that plot point. Oh my God.
He was like, oh yes, and she's like way too into me, and then who was it? Tanya was like, yeah, like she couldn't understand why this flirty was like,
she was like, yeah, that's the most suspicious thing of all, or whatever she said. That was so funny.
When she said he's like a Christmas gift you can't return.
That was good.
So funny.
So many good lines. Oh my gosh.
Now this
but the ending, yes, good.
So the ending, Anne, go ahead.
It was good. It was surprising. You know, I you know, my theory is like, okay, it's always the person you least expect who they haven't brought up, and that person fit that bill. But I was not thinking it was her. For one thing, I was so engrossed in laughing and stuff. I was like, okay, I'm not thinking about the whole time, who is it? Because I was so invested. But I was so surprised that it was Rebecca Staub's character. And So that was it was a good reveal, and I loved how they kind of like broke it down to her, like how they knew it was her, and then like back and forth.
Oh, that was
Or
hilarious.
you tell her. No, you tell her. No, you tell her. You're under arrest at the same time. It's just so good. Oh my
They'd
god.
like ask her a question and she'd answer, and they'd be like, "Well, no, that's not exactly." It was so I was like, this is very like, it's like a nod to Scooby-Doo, right? Like it's always the person that they first kind of ask questions to at the beginning. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, obviously. Like, I don't know why I didn't think of her.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
you said, and you get so wrapped up in it. Like I kind of forgot that they were solving a crime,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I thought too, Bree. Along the way, they just distract you with all of these neighbors who kind of incriminate themselves a little bit. They're like, "Oh, money's tight," at the shop or something. They kind of totally incriminate themselves, and you're like, you have all these suspects that you forget about the obvious one, the lady who owns the business, right? That owns the
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
man. Wow.
And then like the heartfelt, stuff with Mr. Christmas and like what he was actually doing when they thought he was doing the crime, and he was trying to, help people and like do something, kind, and like, build a house for, people, who have been ex-cons and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this man's heart is like gold, and y'all destroyed his reputation,
Yeah.
It was so sweet.
That was a good word for us too. I mean, you see like these detectives see on his rap sheet, he was an ex-con, like, oh, and they're totally suspicious of him when he actually had a life change,
And trying to help other people who he knows that people are seeing, like all they see is this one word when they look at you now, and he's trying to help them. And I love that was just kind of added in, and they didn't have to add that, but it was just a nice little, nice little addition in there. And
that was
so
well, any last thoughts on the Santa Stakeout? Anything we didn't mention, we didn't talk about? Or
I just love the cast of characters. Yeah, I love
it was
the
just
cast.
so good. And I just have to mention this, the slow-mo walk into the I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then they're dancing, and then he's kind of like trying to ask her on a date, and she just like finishes his sentence, just says, I'd love to, before he even asks her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm dying. Like, yes, it's just so sweet. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So good. It's just, oh my gosh.
And Talbot falls during the slow-mo. I mean,
yes.
Talbot, standout character of the movie.
Oh my gosh. I was like, no, he did not just fall in the slow-mo. Oh gosh, Talbot.
He was such a great character. Well, this one for sure. I've already set the recording for Friday night because I need to watch it again. That it's on again Friday night. But okay, I love this movie. I thought it was so great. I want to hear your ratings, Bree.
Oh, why do I gotta go? Guys, this was a 5 for me. This was a 5.
A 5. That's great.
I loved seeing Tamara. I loved seeing her with Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that the captain was a Black male in law enforcement. I love seeing a female detective. That's a woman of color. I loved how they're solving a crime, but it becomes hard because the neighbors just like welcome them in. And I think that we just, those moments of community, I feel like that's what we need right now. So while it was hilarious, it also, I felt like, had some topics in there as well, and I just thought it was great. I thought it was great. What do y'all think?
This movie, wow. Like this, I just can't believe, like I said, it's just so difficult to balance so many things well in a movie. Usually there's something that goes, something gets left, something gets dropped. And they caught all the balls, kept all the balls in the air, like nothing.
Yeah.
It's so funny. And then there's these these sprinkled perfect little, sweet moments, with the comedy and just, a variety of characters. It's an interracial couple, which is special to me. And, it was just so good and so different.
Yeah.
I do think that they kind of missed out I think this movie would be so great to be placed like during Thanksgiving weekend or something, because I think that this movie is so great that, that people who are not Hallmark fans, I think they would like it more. And so if you're sitting down with your family and like, there's all these people who don't watch Hallmark all the time, I think that this is a movie that they could actually get into with their family and enjoy more than a typical, more romantic movie.
Yeah.
Because it's like Brooklyn Nine-Nine meets Hallmark. And like, even my husband, I was like, you would like this movie. I'm like, because he loves Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And I was like, this movie's like made for you. And I was just thinking all the people like him who just love more like that cop stuff and just more comedy. I'm like, this movie is like such a good family movie that like everybody could enjoy more. So I think it could, hopefully it re-airs maybe during that time and families could watch it. But I think a premiere during that time would have been a sweet spot just for just how different it is. I think that other people could really enjoy it who don't watch Hallmark all the time. So
yeah.
Do you think it's tough for the earlier premieres? Like, because people can forget about them.
I think so. And I'm like, oh gosh, y'all, do not sleep on this movie. Like, please, you will miss out possibly on the best movie. We don't know yet, but I'm telling you, like, this is a 5 because it's just so strong across so many things and just so different, so fresh, something we've never seen before. Like, wow, y'all just knocked it out of the park. And I'm so impressed. Like,
well, they did such a good job. Yeah, they did such a good job at it's not like, well, they found that middle ground. It's not a Hallmark movies and mystery, where that can be kind of serious, but really good, but really, they don't have any comedy, but they have romance. And then they have this has comedy and the romance and the mystery, like a good story along with it. It was such a good movie. Now I put 4.5 and you guys know why, but I'm feeling peer pressure to do 5. 5.
It's okay. Just watch it again and then tell us what you think in our chat, because want to know.
I know. I'm thinking, it's up there for me on my list. I think it's going to stay up there after the weeks and weeks and weeks of more.
I think so. It's going to be hard to,
I do. It's so good. So yes, you don't want to miss this movie. You guys, this weekend was so much fun to watch. And I don't care that it's October. I mean, I loved it. I don't know if they meant to give us more comedy before Christmas than tender ones, but the whole mix, I'm glad they didn't give us 4 comedies, and it was.
Yeah, definitely very mixed. Yeah, very different types in this one weekend. And so I think, we had a real super hardcore classic and then, something really heartwarming and sweet. And then like a take on a classic that's funny and different. And then like this totally like all standalone, movie that's never been done, it's like, so it's like 4 very different things.
4 very different and
nice mixed bag. Yeah.
Yeah. So great. Any last thoughts on this weekend's movies?
This is the weekend to beat.
Yeah, this is the weekend to beat. Like, I really feel bad for all the other movies. Like you're literally going to be compared to this just by default in our minds. Like we're going to be like, well, was it better than that? Like, yeah. So you guys can all just, hate on these movies because these are the standard now. So
absolutely. Well, you heard it here on the Hallmarkies podcast. This is the weekend to beat. You have to beat the first weekend of Countdown to Christmas movies, but we want to hear from you guys, our listeners. If we want to hear your opinions, your thoughts on these 4 movies. And so please leave a comment on the YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more Countdown to Christmas from the Hallmarkies podcast. Also, leave a ratings and a review on iTunes if you're listening there. Definitely find the Hallmarkies podcast all over social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on our webpage has merch information just in time for the holidays. So we have some fun merch there, Christmas Hallmark merch as well. This is the time to join our Patreon group. Join this group of people who love Hallmark just as much as you do. We want to talk about these movies. We want to have early listening opportunities for the podcast, and also some watch along opportunities with stars and writers and directors and people who are involved in making these movies. Those are so much fun. So join our Patreon. We would love to have you there. And definitely go follow the three of us on social media as we discover what Countdown to Christmas brings. And if anything can top our first weekend of movies, I feel like it's ours, actually.
It is ours. We are owning this.
Yes.
There is goodness here.
So
Good luck, everybody else.
Yes. Good luck. We wish you well, but the bar has been set.
I mean, we're all on the same team. We're not a competition, but I mean, this was a good week.
This was a good weekend.
So, Bree, where can people find you on social media?
I'm at Falling for Romance on Instagram.
And what about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at awscott21.
And come over to Instagram and find me at Hallmark Comics. I'd love to interact with you there. And have a very, very Merry Christmas, Hallmark Countdown to Christmas. We will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.